Visit ZABALGamez.com. That's ZABAL Games.com and sign up.
Decentralized energy, let's talk about Web3.
So we are back for our next episode of the ZABAL Gamez, giving an artist workshop. Here is Joseph Goetz. Welcome to the ZABAL Gamez, Joseph. How are you doing today? I would love for you to give a little intro about yourself.
Doing great, Saul. Thank you for the invitation and happy to be here sharing about my journey so it can serve to the community. I don't know what piece it can serve for the community, but I appreciate that you invited me to share it. To introduce myself, my name is Joseph Goetz, an English analog of Jose Cabrera, which is my name. And I have been exploring Web3 as my vehicle to share my music on peer-to-peer relationships across the globe. My purpose with that was learn English, and I wanted to work with tourism. I had the idea that by doing this through my music, people will come to visit my country. I think that summarized the whole journey, and I think that I'm going to zoom in into that and how these years through music and Web3, I have been able to do dreams on a local place which is pretty tough for artists without infrastructure, which is my case. So I'm pretty happy to share it, especially with those artists that can find themselves in a similar situation. Web3 can empower you, but I don't want to talk Web3. Like, I don't want to use that word at all. Like, I want to mention how how internet tools today can benefit you. I
like that right there. How internet tools today can benefit you. I think that tagline is an amazing way of saying, like, the simple version of where we're all at in the industry we're in, right? And I think my reason for creating the ZABAL Gamez was to bring the knowledge that I have, as well as the individuals within my community, together around, AI coding specifically, and bring that towards our energy here in the ZABAL and the ZAO. And it's really a blessing to have you on. We're going to be talking here today about how you have survived this long in Web3 and also as a musician and using some of these tools, right? And starting to transition into now learning about where you can, go from being a non-technical individual, but potentially being able to vibe code it to the point where you created a mini app recently on Farcaster this week, which is really exciting. Do you want to talk a little bit about what tools that you use that help you as a musician that you've been, you could give a case study or an example of that has been helpful for you in the last few years?
Well, I think that for years, the tool that from the beginning it started for me was writing, songwriting. But when I zoomed in to Web3, writing and blogging was my entry point, and it always have been a door that I always explore and visit. Even if it's just mental maps, I'm always thinking in terms of content creation, and in this case, writing content creation, because I enjoy to write, especially in pen and paper. So I was using that exercise, like, what is something I like to invest my time that I would like also to share that can be a content piece. So I was doing the song, but I thought the content, like a blog with just the video, it felt so empty. So I started diving into writing beyond doing songs to try to investigate what Web3 potential was. So I was just a musician, but I saw a literature contest of scary, spooky stories, to mention something. And maybe in any other scenario, I would have participated or created a piece of a spooky story, for example. But I had a chance through those kinds of initiatives that back in the day Web3 had, and you can still find contests. So contests in Web3 are decentralized. You can find many opportunities because of that, because anybody can make one. So, even so, a mindset that is important for the community, because who is the Web3 community? People that is in high agency enough to want to transmit something, but also curate information from other creators transmitting something, and came up with a culture out of it. The use of these tools for a decentralized perspective on uh, audiovisual media, which
You,
it can extend to so many
yeah,
like people. Yeah.
you've said decentralized a few times. Do you want to give your definition of what decentralization is or what that means to you?
Yeah, so to me, it's similar to the idea of the fractal. That is something that we explore in the SAO a lot, and that I personally started exploring through music. I have a research in audio that is a mathematical infinite pattern of music, and it's a succession of numbers that goes to the infinite, and which directly represents uh, geometry. So fractals are the branching of itself again in a periodic progression, and each part of the fractal is made of the same ingredients, but each one is unique. So decentralization for me is like the inherent state that anybody has a fingerprint and anybody has something to say. So decentralization is when everybody has the chance to share what they have to say in any format possible through these tools.
100%. I think there, there's so many good things you touched on there. Why don't you start sharing a little bit about, as a musician in this space, how have you used these tools to find ways to succeed that you weren't able to before?
Yeah, so where I live, music industry, it's, I don't know the status. I will say that it doesn't exist at the moment. Like there's no structure, and most of what you see is grassroots, independent places trying to run. For example, there's a couple spaces I can do music, but they don't have the sound equipment. And hiring that sound equipment, it can cost me $200 at the least. So if I go and people goes, maybe I will win $200 if it goes really good. So I end up paying to play, and it's not sustainable in an economy in which it's really complex. I don't know how to extend that complexity, but that complexity was the reason I started using Web3. To me, it had a lot of sense, especially in 2017, to explore these opportunities by being in Venezuela. And I got told by a friend, like, hey, there are contests in the blockchain. Specifically, he mentioned to me the Steemit blockchain, that then it changed to Hive, and and that change was something interesting to me to see and to check how the community was able to
Yeah,
make a fork.
why did a brand change stick out to you so much? Tell me more.
Because it was a community doing a branch out of how like the company level of the blockchain was working with. So this company decided to sell. No, that was not the way to put it. There was what is spoke of as a hostile takeover. So somebody bought 51% of the token, so he was able to play with the governance, and he messed up everything. So the community of developers decided to make a fork of Hive
I see.
blockchain, and to me it was like, oh my god, even like this was the moment where iteration happened to be. You know, there was a takeover, and these people decided to fork. So to me it was like that's great, because even that in the community there was problems or differences, there was like a decentralization. Like you were not able to see how was the uniform that everybody was wearing. Like everybody were wearing a different uniform. That was decentralized to me in a certain sense. Of course you had like group communities that hold certain power and practices and curational projects, uh, because there's opportunity for centralization to happen on a decentralized system. Like you
Yeah.
can create your own thing in a decentralized framework. Centralization can work within decentralization.
Amazing. I think there's an interesting challenge that comes with with the pro of decentralization, which is distribution, right? And that is something that's very challenging as it is in the music industry, but then also in this emerging tech space. Do you want to have a conversation a little bit more about how you found different distribution points in this decentralized space to get your music out there?
Yeah, for sure. So back in the day, in 2017, when I found this technology, there was no plastic for bank accounts, debit cards in my country. So I was not able to enter to the bank system and being able to perceive music from in a linear way to, I don't know, play in a place, or even the complexity of that moment was not like there, you were not able to play in a place where you could get paid. That was a really, there was no plastic. So try to put the framework of why Web3 worked for me. It was like anybody anywhere, a hobo, can give me $1 and help me a lot right now. So it was like in the framework that I operate with, it has all the sense, because basically there's the framework to explore it at the fullest. I dedicated 24/7 to explore these tools through music, but I also was learning English, so that led me on exploring DAOs and getting to know you and getting to know other people and checking on podcasts and doing music. I wanted to participate in communications, so and do music and find people where I could play music and that could support me organically. I thought that this DAO opportunity works will serve me for me to connect with somebody and play some music, and then they can send me some money to my digital hat. That was my framework. It really was like that for a lot of time, and I still operate sometimes from that point of view because it's natural for me, like digital street music, which is what I do. So most of my journey had not been about NFTs at all. I operate on live performance. I like to play. I like to do music and explore it, but I need to allow me the time to do so. So how am I able by earning money by playing music in this framework without leaving this beautiful nature that I have behind, without having to leave my roots, my family, the jokes, the humor, the essays, the wisdom, and it's not like I don't want to leave. I was able to travel thanks to Web3 and music and digital street music. So I operate in the visualizing that it's possible to do music in a peer-to-peer way and be able to visit you and see you one day, and be able to do touring and invite you here. Right now it's really warm. It's like, oh my god, this is the best weather ever, because it's not like warm like I'm hot. Not at all. It's like, oh, vitamin D, come to me. Like it's like the sun is feeding me. So I think that this work for coordination, and the music can work for that because it's through the music that we connected. But now I can tell you, hey, come visit. Like I think that is the intrinsic like a change, especially in the moment where technology gets exponential. Human relationship and like social systems is like what needs to have an evolution, and the evolution is the opportunity to build relationships together with this opportunity to share in a fractal space or in whatever space, because we can choose from a range of space. You can create your own space. That's what I mean with decentralization, is that you have you have XYZ, and everybody has XYZ, and it's upon how do you code your vector, your vehicle, that you can interconnect with this subway station where I play music on the streets at the top. So I think on crypto as a city, right? And then I think that there's like a subway in which musicians can perform, or there's artists like doing a street performance art. That's how I visualize it. So I think that musicians plays a role between building and building in this city for the people to get to know each other. I think that musicians plays the same role that they played 1,000 years ago as bards between city and city. It were like the blockchain nodes, like databases, going between node and node, confirming cities, saying, hey, yeah, these people here is cool, these people here is cool, let's do a tour, let's bring more people, let's bring a festival alive. So I think that empowerment is what I have been looking, because I would love to see concerts and music events here, especially on the framework where we operate. That is that we have to reimagine music for social impact and education, because that's the work that is needed to be done. So how do we do festivals that are educative? We have made festivals here that are educative. We have tried to operate with Web3. I do a lot of onboarding to my friends. Some friends have came, and I think that all of my friends who have like worked with me in something, they had won money in a way or another, but they don't know English, for example. And I am really privileged that I was able to learn English on Web3, because the English that I know, it can move from really technical Web3 to my Venezuelan way, because I don't know anything about grammar. My English is without like a grammar barrier. I speak English as I speak Spanish most of the time, and sometimes I don't explain myself correctly because of that, because I'm really speaking on Spanish. So sometimes maybe I can use an abstract way of speaking that it doesn't have any sense for an English native speaking. So yeah, to me it's really great. I speak most of the time English rather than Spanish. It's odd in that sense, like my day then, but I love it because now I'm doing music in English. Doesn't mean I'm not doing more music in Spanish. It just means that my journey is about learning in this life, and I want to share synthesis of that through the things that I can able to do as creations. And I was looking for like independent producers and other independent musicians out there in blockchain thinking on the same like XYZ terms, so we can align and create things, make things a reality, like the COC Concerts. Maybe I don't participate all the time, but anytime I can go, I attend. The same thing with the Impact Concerts I run with Easy, that this month we didn't do it. Maybe this month we will do it. Easy have been taking a nap, and these spaces like are like long-term communities that are trying to solve or the problem that these different Web3 the problem of decentralization is fragmentation. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
I love that. Do you want to give a little bit of a summary of what you guys did in May, on May 22nd for the Earth Day?
Oh, it was April.
April, sorry.
It was April, yeah. But for sure, so we are doing impact concerts. Easy and I came up with this idea after doing them before putting them a name. Essentially, since I met Easy, doing these concerts and the spaces he runs, asking for funds for infrastructure, for all sort of things. It was like, hey, I do this music. I am pretty abundant in music, guys. Like I have these hundreds of songs. Like I have written like maybe 60 songs, and I there's a lot of covers that I appreciate. And to me, they have all meaning because it's not a commercial thing. It's a storytelling journey. So I have all this like creative capital to share. So if you appreciate it and you appreciate the digital street music culture, which is that I do this for free for you and for everybody to get to spark conversation and bring perspectives, because I know it can be really fun. And for this to be fun, for my work to be fun, is something that I look in my family. It was always about funny stuff. My grandmother is a comedian. My mother have been into original songwriting for kids. So my house was about encouraging creativity. I was always mad because nothing was serious. They were always having fun. And then I realized how of a gift it was to see a joke in everything, because I think it's part of my character that keeps me working on stuff that can be pretty tough, in context that can be pretty tough. But I appreciate the hustle because I understand that there's an underlying value and that has to be pioneered on. And I appreciate doing the research. but I have to be vocal in finding opportunities, as I have been doing with you. Like, hey, I need opportunities. You know anything? Hey, I don't know anything at the moment, but I have you on my radar. Okay, thanks, Sal. And then you tell me, hey, I can help you with this. I can give you a scholarship to learn artificial intelligence, for example. And I appreciate those kind of bridges because I think that's the way. You connect peer to peer with your community. Be honest. I have been working with a project in DeFi called ASOS Finance, doing their social media, and for that position I did research on biologists. We were able to interview the World Food Prize of Agriculture, which is like a novel analog prize. And that was great. I was able to connect with her. She doesn't have anything to do with Web3 at all, and she's from Brazil. So the chances that she spoke English, I didn't know about that actually. But she speaks Portuñol. She speaks Spanish, English, and Portuguese. It was great. She's a rock star grandmother researching on bacteria and showing that the relationship between bacteria and plants is it has a better outcome than chemical fertilizers, and she explains why. She explains why organic is better than chemical, and that's something to think about. Also, in the sense that we do like system thinking. I like to think about Humberto Maturana, and he speaks about autopoiesis, which is a topic I have spoke with you before. It's a topic that I have been speaking with friends since I research in all these things, because first is a research made by a biologist in Chile, so he speaks Spanish. So I think that something I can do as your Spanish node of trust is to share with you research on Spanish that how the fuck you will know about if it wasn't because of that. So that's the power of Web3. That how do I know about something that is your culture? How do I know something about your unification myth, about something that you are really deep crave on, if you don't connect with me? And that connection in terms of Humberto Maturana, which studied what is a living being, and he said that a living being is an autopoietic being, which is a being that it creates itself. So if you are alive, you create yourself the same way that the butterfly creates their wings. And if you are a cat, you have to be catting. If you are Sal, you have to be Saling. If I'm Joseph, I have to be Josephine. Like, I have to be the verb of who you are. You have to do. So that's what he says in terms of biology, that the cell creates itself at the level of the cell. So it's at a fractal level that it happens. So it's beautiful. Humberto Maturana Autopoiesis. I encourage you to check on it because
maybe that's the next conversation we could even have specifically on that topic.
It would be
because
beautiful.
I think that would be one
honored.
we could open up to a Farcaster space, maybe make it a little interesting, try and get people, maybe we do a combo Farcaster X space and get other people to come in and
That's
hear and
great.
share their thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful conversation that is Spanish being translated into English. And actually, Humberto was inspired by English researchers, George Bateson. There's a book I'm reading from him, which is I can't remember at the moment. The Ecology of the Mind is the name, and it's a precious book, and it's really deep. Like I'm stuck because I start reading it again and again because there's a lot of density in the information he shares. Like I have to analyze it, to write it down. I did some mental maps. Like I really want to crack down what he is thinking and why Humberto was inspired by him, so I can enter into studying Humberto Maturana more, because I want to do music aligned to biology. I want to speak about the butterflies, I want to speak about the fruits, I want to speak about nature, I want to be aligned to natural science in what I write. So it's to me it's important to have the perspective, so through the eyes of a song a kid can learn something that maybe can be a PhD stuff, you know, but it can happen because it's about information and knowledge, and that doesn't have a distinction of a title, especially with music.
I love it, Jose. Well, as we're getting close to the end here, I was thinking, do you want to share a little bit about where people can find you if they want to reach out? And then I was thinking maybe, do you want to end us off with a song here?
No, I will not. I will not share a song with the guitar in the hand. I have my Discord, Jose A Cabrera V. Oh my God, how to say it? You can look on Farcaster. You check on the ZABAL community, because Saul is doing a great work on helping musicians like me, where that has this fragmentation issue, because we are decentralized. So Saul will figure how to find have access to you that you are listening this to check on my social media. So Jose A Cabrera V in all the social media. You will have a link to those channels. Oh my God, see that stuff? He already put it there. That is the preciousness of the technology and the preciousness of sharing with friends. Because what I want to do is do music, so I appreciate these spaces. So that's my social media. Find me on Discord. I'm on the streets of the metaverse. So I'm going to share the basic code.
Awesome.
El código básico. Tengo un código básico pa' tus hábitos tóxicos, pa' cambiarte el sonido, pa' moldearte el oído. Tengo un bálsamo ácido, dulce como la realidad, pa' limpiarte por dentro, pa' ir sacando lo feo. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón. A veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su color. Como hay que saber, no todo siempre se hace menester, y lo sagrado siempre ha de estar, así nosotros no podamos ver. Sueño que tengo la última palabra en esta historia. El infinito de aquel día quedó en mi memoria. Como hay que saber, a veces sientes todo un batallón, a veces la hormiga ruge al león, a veces Marte saca su color. Como hay que saber, no todo siempre se hace menester, y lo sagrado siempre ha de estar, así nosotros no podamos ver. Pa para pa para pa para pa para 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 pa para pa para pa para pa para pa.
Awesome. Check out Jose, Farcaster, Discord everywhere.
Hold the vibe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
This is Zal, keep it a Zali. From the Zal down, come proper. We eat rappers for lunch, and there's some left, we eat them for supper. I keep it a Zal, homie, a Zali. Heard the streets calling E3. I man to assignments, now the whole world hear about me.